3 people in hospital with serious burns after their car crashed and burst into flames. Cyclone strength winds batter the southwest, damaging homes and businesses. And the mum who had experimental treatment for MS says it's worked.
Live across Western Australia, GWN7 News with Noel Brunning.
Good evening. First tonight, 3 people from Albany are in hospital with serious burns after their car crashed and caught fire just outside the city. A passing motorist stopped to help and drove them to hospital.
Around 1:30 this morning, a fiery crash in Albany. A Ford Falcon travelling on Menang Drive left the road, crashed into a tree and burst into flames. The 3 occupants in their 20s were badly burnt. Police say their injuries were life-threatening. Another motorist came across the horrific scene. She stopped to help and then drove the injured to Albany Regional Hospital.
It was very fortunate that this person was so close at the time to able to render assistance and get them to hospital.
Today they were all flown by the Royal Flying Doctor Service to Fiona Stanley Hospital in Perth.
All the families have been advised and they're all aware, and our thoughts are with all of them at the moment.
Before the crash, police had stopped the car for a random drug test. At that point, the driver was a 26-year-old man.
Just before midnight last night, the same vehicle was stopped by police. The driver at that time was brought back to the Albany Police Station for a drug test, as he provided a positive drug sample or drug wipe on the side of the road.
Police say the 2 male passengers didn't have driving licences, so organised for the 23-year-old female to come and pick them up. And not long after that, they crashed. A person posted on Facebook that they heard the crash, saying it sounded like a bomb going off at 1:20 a.m.
The more people that come forward, the better we can paint a picture of what actually happened.
Major crash investigators from Perth will now take over the investigation. Simone Kerr, GWN7 News.
The southwest has been battered by cyclone strength winds and heavy rain today. Albany was one of the places hardest hit. There was damage in Bunbury too. Forecasters say the wild weather will continue tomorrow.
Strong winds ripped through Albany today. These silos were blown over. Meanwhile, York Street saw this downpour. Up the road on Lockyer Avenue, flash flooding. A severe weather warning was issued for the southwest as Albany, Margaret River and Bunbury cops dangerous winds. In Calgon, locals say a mini tornado uprooted trees and threw heavy branches through the air. In Brunswick, this water tank roof was blown off. People in the southwest of WA experience a front as strong as this about 5 times a year.
We have a severe weather warning current for much of southern WA. Conditions will ease tonight before a second strong cold front moves through the area during tomorrow.
Winds of 139 kilometres an hour were recorded in Albany, 96 kilometres an hour in Cape Leeuwin, 93 in Busselton. Albany locals say they had to hide for cover as shed roofs were torn off, damaging cars. A second cold front is likely to affect the southwest from early Friday morning.
Conditions will improve later on Friday, but we have another developing low pressure system on Sunday, and that'll bring showers and gusty winds to much of southern WA.
Department of Fire and Emergency Services say people in the storm zone should stay indoors and away from trees and power lines. Brennan Crew, GWN7 News.
Bunbury jewellery store was targeted by thieves overnight. While one of them waited in the getaway car, the other smashed his way through a glass door to get into the Bunbury Forum. He then smashed his way into the Goldmark jewellery shop and spent just 3 minutes inside before taking off with an estimated $50,000 worth of jewellery. A year ago, the same shop was robbed twice in 2 days. Last night, the thieves drove away in a black sedan. Police are studying CCTV footage to try to identify them. A Midwest grandmother is pleading with burglars to return the ashes of her parents, which were stolen in a home burglary in Geraldton last month.
It's hard, as every day I'm thinking about are they dumped in the paddock or, something like that. It's very, very hard to cope with it,
Grandmother Barbara Doherty is heartbroken. The 62-year-old not only had her home in Beachlands burgled, she's had her parents' ashes stolen.
And I didn't notice it for a couple of days because I had it at the back. And then when I went to go and get them, I noticed and I had to sit down. I was just shaken.
These are Barbara's parents. She was preparing to scatter their ashes at their old home in Nansen, 35 kilometres northeast of Geraldton, when the burglars struck and stole the urn. They also took jewellery, the grandmother's new vacuum cleaner and even her underwear. But that's not what's important to the 62-year-old.
I don't think I'll be at rest until I actually find them, if I do.
This is how the burglars got in. This kitchen window was broken. Barbara says the hole was so small she thinks a child climbed through. The urn was inside a dark blue box with gold writing on it. The urn itself is light blue and made of plastic.
No questions asked. I just want them back,
Geraldton police are still investigating the burglary. Laura Birch, GWN7 News.
Health experts are warning people in Broome not to handle the local fruit bats after one was found infected with a disease similar to rabies. Anyone scratched or bitten by a bat should get medical help immediately.
The WA Country Health Service is warning Kimberley residents and tourists to stay away from the local bats in case they are carrying the rare but potentially fatal Lissa virus.
Recently, one of the bats from the Broome colony that was found dead was tested and found to be positive with Australian bat Lissa virus. So we want to warn the public that only trained and vaccinated people should handle bats.
Lissa virus is a rabies-like disease that can be contracted by being scratched or bitten by an infected bat.
Every single week I've been getting them in. And there are various different things that's wrong with them. A lot of them have been babies. So I don't know what's happened to the parents. They could have had the virus and dropped the babies.
Over the years, there have been 3 reported deaths from Lissa virus, all of them in Queensland. The last was in 2013, when an 8-year-old boy died. He hadn't told his parents he'd been bitten by a bat.
So if you find a sick or injured bat, ring the Department of Wildlife or the local wildlife carers group.
Luke Shipway, GWN7 News.
The Australian Border Force has been cracking down on animal smugglers in the Pilbara. GWN7 has been given a rare insight into how they work and what it takes to protect our wildlife.
The black market for Australian wildlife has become a lucrative one, and these are the officers protecting our native animals from smugglers.
Patrols of national parks, looking for any illegal activity, in particular wildlife smuggling in this time of year.
Native Australian animals are highly sought after overseas and can be sold for profit by people who have no regard for the animals' well-being.
I'm Hannah from Border Force.
On this operation, the Border Force team travelled more than 1,500 kilometres around the Pilbara, engaging with remote communities.
Looking for people that are potentially wildlife smuggling. So I'll give you this pack. It's just got some information in there about what common indicators to look for.
Locals play an important role in protecting our wildlife and are encouraged to report suspicious behaviour.
We ask members of the public to be our eyes and ears in places we can't always get to. And the way they can do that is by Border Watch.
It is illegal to export native wildlife without a permit. The maximum penalty for the offence is 10 years in jail and a fine of up to $180,000. Simone Kerr, GWN7 News.
A Bunbury woman who defied doctors and travelled to Russia for experimental treatment for multiple sclerosis says it's worked. Stacey Hearn's walking has improved. She doesn't need to sleep during the day and can spend more time with her daughter.
Stacey Hearn has been battling multiple sclerosis for 15 years. And as the disease progressed, it had done serious damage, including leaving Stacey blind in one eye.
I had issues with walking, balance, vision obviously, and just so much fatigue that walking down the end of the street with Izzy to go to school just didn't really happen.
3 years ago, Stacey and her husband Mark saw a report on a TV current affairs program about an experimental treatment in Russia for MS sufferers.
I couldn't believe it. It was almost too good to be true. So when we saw it, I said, let's look into this and see if we can get you there and if it's appropriate.
Stacey's neurologist was against the treatment when she first told him.
Basically said to me that he wasn't in support of the treatment, and basically that was the last time that we really spoke about it with him.
The Apex Club of Kumbana helped with the cost of the treatment, raising $35,000 towards the $76,000 bill. Remortgaging their house took care of the rest. It's now been 3 months since Stacey, Mark and their 5-year-old daughter Isabel took the trip to Moscow to begin the month-long treatment. And the results so far have the family excited for the future.
We won't know whether it's worked as such for anywhere between like 1.5 to 2 years. But at the moment, we are already noticing differences.
She bounces out of the bed in the morning. It used to be I'd be up first thing, walking around. Now she beats me out of bed. She's pushing me to do things.
Stacey no longer needs a sleep during the day and her walking has improved.
I'm able to get up and down off of things. I'm able to walk a lot further than what I used to. And stairs aren't a complete and utter enemy anymore, which is really good.
Luke Shipway, GWN7 News.
Well, as we've seen, the south has been battered today, and Shauna, some big rainfall.
Yeah, thanks for that, Noel. A soaking for a couple of places as that strong front pushed through from this morning. It was quite fast moving and is now affecting southern central areas. The Bureau has issued severe weather warnings for much of the southern half, except the goldfields. And this afternoon we had just a very brief easing of winds to west coastal areas. It's all warmth north. Wyndham was our hotspot, 40 today, 30 there for Broome. Port Hedland, a maximum of 36. Now windy, 35 in Exmouth. Westerlies, 25 for Carnarvon. Geraldton, 25 at 11:30 this morning. Now, in contrast, we had a severe fire danger for the goldfields today, and a 31 was the top there for Kalgoorlie. Amidst the storm conditions, south 20 was the maximum for Bunbury. Albany reached 21 at 10:20 this morning, but it's been warm and windy. Well east, 28 degrees there for Esperance. Rainfall till 9 a.m. It's the largest recording we've had this month, 88 millimetres at Mount William in the southwest. We had lighter falls inland and east, and even a few millimetres reaching through to the central wheat belt. Now, the second last day before the school term ends, so a big thanks to all the students in room 2 at Australind Primary for checking the gauges for our weather wall tonight. Now, there's another front tomorrow. All the details shortly.
Thanks, Shauna. Coming up, surfers in a cash grab, taking the government's money to buy shark deterrents. And Geraldton gets the green light for extended shopping hours, but some businesses don't like it. One person has been flown to Royal Perth Hospital by the RAC chopper after a car rollover in the southwest. It happened on Garvey Road in Dardanup. Meanwhile, this afternoon in Busselton, there was a 2-car crash. 4 people were taken to the local hospital. 3 have been discharged. 1 is in a stable condition. Emergency crews were on site to deal with the fuel spill. Hundreds of West Australians have taken up the government's offer to help pay for shark deterrent devices. More than 630 people have taken part in the subsidy scheme since it launched in May. Anyone who bought a government-approved device received a $200 rebate. Recently, a group of southwest surfers said the devices probably saved their lives, driving off a great white which had charged at them. After a decade of delays, a $22 million 120-bed resort will be built on the Kalgoorlie Golf Course. CEO John Walker says the community is divided on whether the city's money should be spent on the golf course, some seeing it as elitist. He hopes the resort will attract more tourism to the town. The city is contributing $4 million to the project, and there's talk that the resort might eventually house a casino.
Legislation in West Australia says you can't have a casino within 600 kilometres of the one that's already there in Perth. This one's just outside the 600k. Not everybody wants one, some people do. It's not part of this plan, but we always keep it on the horizon.
Construction is expected to start in February next year. Minganew police have charged a 37-year-old Perth woman with drug possession and possession of unlawfully obtained money. Police stopping her on the Brand Highway in Wandina. They found 4 grams of meth, half in the woman's handbag, the rest in an ashtray, along with more than $2,500 cash. A 23-year-old Perth man was also in the car. He's been charged with possessing a meth pipe. A man has been taken to hospital for a mental health assessment after his home was completely destroyed by a fire overnight. The blaze took hold just after midnight on a property on Ladylock Road in Kilgardy. Police say the 53-year-old man living there wasn't home at the time. Police believe the fire was lit in the backyard and quickly spread to the donga the man was living in. The damage bill is around $20,000. The government has given the City of Geraldton the green light for extended shopping hours. The trial will run for 12 months, but some business owners oppose the plan, saying there's not enough demand for it.
In essence, it means that Geraldton will be open for business.
It's the news some people in Geraldton have been waiting for. The government have approved a 12-month trial for extended trading hours in the city.
This is a primary initiative for the city's growth plan, with very, very strong community support, so we're really pleased with the advice.
But some smaller businesses in Geraldton don't support the move.
I'm a little disappointed. I don't think that extending the hours of retail trading helps small businesses in Geraldton.
Retailers like Coles and Woolies will be able to open their doors from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday to Friday and from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Sunday. This is already an option for smaller businesses. The trial has repeatedly been pushed back. Originally, the city wanted to start the trial in July, but the government said they needed to consult further with the community.
Initially, we thought we'd done lots and lots of consultation. The department wanted more. That was their call, just to be sure, to give the Minister the assurances that we had really consulted the community.
The Minister says everyone will have to wait and see if extended trading does put pressure on small businesses.
I think that's a risk, and that's why I've put some unprecedented conditions on the trial, and I'm requiring the City of Geraldton to report back to me next year.
Steph says she's tried opening her shop on a Sunday and only had 2 people walk through the door. She says Geraldton doesn't have the population or community support for extended trading.
I think definitely regional towns that have a tourist population, it works. I've lived in Broome, they had 7-day trade.
The government still has to decide on a start date for the trial. Laura Birch, GWN7 News.
Coming up, the shock resignation of a country basketball coach, plus the golfer who just keeps on winning and winning. The South West Slammers are once again on the hunt for a new coach after Charles Nicks announced his resignation. Pictured here on the right, he's only been with the club for 1 year, but it was a successful one. He was named the SBL Coach of the Year. The club says family reasons are behind the resignation and wish Charles all the best. A Bunbury golfer has made it into the record books after winning his club's championship for the 11th time. That equals the club record, and Danny Anna says he has no plans to leave it there.
For Bunbury man Danny Anor, golf is more than a sport or a pastime. It's a passion, and he's pretty good at it. He won this year's Bunbury Golf Club Championship. It's the 11th time he's done so, equalling the record of club stalwart Jason Hislop.
It's a very proud moment for me. I love this golf club. It's a big part of my life, and to be able to win 11 times it's quite an achievement.
The golfer has been a member of the Bunbury Golf Club for 23 years, winning his first championship back in 2002. Since then, only 5 other people have won the championship. Danny says the championship is a chance for the golfers to show everyone just how good they are.
The club championship is the one recognition of the good players in the club. Golf is always off handicap and basically anyone can win. The club championship is the one that's really for the good players.
While it's an achievement to equal the record, Danny says he plans to be back next year, hoping for another win and a new club record.
And it's nice to share the record with him, but hopefully I'll get it off him one day.
Living only 2 minutes from the course, Danny is a regular around the club. And although he spends a lot of time on the fairways, he also enjoys a beer with his mates.
Probably known to have a couple more beers than you need to every now and then, but yeah, just someone who loves golf and really enjoys coming out here.
Luke Shipway, GWN7 News.
Shoulders back next with your Friday forecast, and then ahead in 7 News, how the AFL's been caught up in a security scare after supporting same-sex marriage. Now, Fuel Watch, keeping you informed on where to find the cheapest fuel prices where you live across WA. For a larger list of towns, check the Fuel Watch website online or phone 1300 304 054. The south of WA remains on storm alert tonight, and Shauna, a second front tomorrow.
Yes, and it's likely to bring very similar conditions to what we've experienced in the past 24 hours. Now, today's front weakening and pretty much slipping away through here to the east. Tomorrow, rainfall reaching up to Carnarvon and across to the Eucla with the passage of this second strong cold front. Look, again, some heavy falls are forecast in some areas. Thunderstorms possible for southern districts, and of course damaging winds reaching 100 kilometres an hour. Look, conditions easing on Saturday, but still some showers near the west coast, probably sitting around south of Kalbarri and also along that southern coastline. The wind should ease as well from the west, but on Sunday we've got this low pressure system through here. You can see that's going to approach the southwest, and the Bureau is forecasting showers to sit southwest of a line from Exmouth down through to Albany, and again some moderate to heavy falls to the southwest. Monday, showers expected to extend further right up into parts of the Pilbara and pretty much right through that southern half. Moderate to heavy falls and possible thunderstorms as well to that southwest corner. Once more though, our north remains unaffected. Sunshine and 40 in Fitzroy Crossing, Broome 33, and while fresh winds, Carruthers looking at 34, 31 for Tom Price. Possible morning shower and 25 for Carnarvon tomorrow. A high chance of rain right through the central west. Geraldton, a maximum there of 21 degrees. Severe weather warnings remain in place for the south. 18 for Bunbury, a cold 16 for Albany, and possible storms pushing up into the wheatbelt as well. Merredin is looking at that 19 degrees. Look, a sunny start to the southeast, but severe weather by afternoon at 21 for Esperance. Possible damaging winds reaching the southwestern goldfields. Kalgoorlie looking at 24. It's pretty fresh boating conditions off the north tomorrow. Strong winds are forecast through here just off that Gascoyne coastline. For western waters, the warnings range from strong winds to gale force, and it's the same for southern waters as well, along with some potentially damaging surf conditions. Around the nation, a warm 23 for Melbourne and mostly sunny. It's looking pretty good for Darwin, 34 degrees there, while for Perth it is showers and windy, a maximum of 19. Good night.
Thank you, Shauna. That's GWN7 News for tonight. We'll have updates for you a little later. You can watch or rewatch our bulletins again on YouTube. And remember, for news anytime, go to gwn7.com.au. Also follow us on social media. And don't forget, double demerits kick off tonight from midnight with that long weekend on the way. 7 News from Perth is next from our team here. Good night, Western Australia.